Welcome everyone to another Marvel Crisis Protocol unboxing. So today, as you can see, we are unboxing Cyclops and Storm. So these two are X-Men, if you didn't know already. And it's quite unusual to have a box with two leaders in it. So you could use both of them in a list and take Storm as a leader, or you could use Cyclops as the leader. So for those who don't know, Cyclops, otherwise known as Scott Summers, he is Jean Grey's partner. And they do, actually, in the future, spoiler alert, have a child called Cable, which is also in this game, which is such a cool model, and he is the leader of X-Force. So some of you might know Cable from the Deadpool films as well, if you haven't read any comics containing Cable, for example. But Cyclops, always a bit of a goody two-shoes, and the reason it's called Cyclops is because he doesn't have one eye, but he does have a headband that looks like he has one eye, which he can shoot beams of like optic force from. So there's a big red laser beam that comes out of his eyes. So the visor helps him control it a little bit more. So he is more or less human looking, you know, apart from he's wearing a big stupid headpiece. And Monroe, who is Storm, she hasn't always been a good guy. For example, she was even with the Morlocks at one stage, but she's been around for quite a long time in the comics. She's fought alongside the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, obviously the X-Men, even in the Hellfire Club. Yeah, she's a bit temperamental, I guess. So she can control the weather, and she is about as fiery as they get as well. So initially she seems quite level-headed, but you push her, yeah, she can be pretty nuts. So I've always liked these two characters. I think they're pretty cool. I like Scott purely because, not Scott himself, but the fact that he's got this thing with Wolverine. They both obviously like Jean, and I just like the, even on screen in the original X-Men film, I like the way they interact with each other. The fact that Wolverine keeps one of his claws out, like flipping the middle finger at him, I think it's great. I think it's funny. But enough about a little bit of the background. Let's open up the box. So looking at the instructions, which apparently you should always do first, you can see, like most of the other Marvel Crisis Protocol models, it's not too complex, but what I am not looking forward to is how much surface contact is there going to be on the back of the knee of Storm, and it looks like the middle of her back. So one of the lightning strikes. Yeah, there's not a lot of surface contact. I mean, it's nice that they're trying to be cinematic, and the fact that she's looking like she's in a whirlwind at that moment, with rocks flying around and lightning strikes, is very cinematic. It's very cool. But I'm a bit clumsy. Am I going to drop this model? And then it begs the question, how do you store it? So I do store most of mine with magnets on a magnet sheet, purely because all the bases that I've come across so far for the actual game have a recess, and magnets fit perfectly into the bottom. So, nice bit of artwork there as well. And I like the fact that on the newer Marvel stuff, there is numbers on the destructions. So, like off the original box, the core box, there were no numbers, which is fine if you've got some level of skill and you put miniatures together before. But if this is your first rodeo, it could be a little bit daunting, a little bit complex. But on the whole, they are pretty easy models to put together. So you can see front and back there, arms and head option. Me personally, I'm going to go with the hair, because when I've played the Night Models game a few years ago that was out, I green stuffed hair on their Cyclops. But these models are far better, definitely. And thank God for plastics. Metal models do chip easy, and they can be easily damaged, I find. But yeah, not bad for the level of detail. So you can see some of the pouches on there, like the classic 90s X-Men. And I do like the strap option, like the Y strap on his chest. The other options for way back when, his suit was quite smooth, less pouches, and it looked a little bit awful. So I'm glad they went with that era. So here are the models. I'll put my hand behind, see if you can get some details. So you can see the seam on her leggings there. It's not bad detail on the face. I do think as this game progresses, the more detail they do add to these models. The core box wasn't fantastic. It was okay for the level of detail, but they are improving definitely all the time. Really easy to assemble, and I do like the fact that sometimes they even have extras in the box if there's something fiddly and small. Look at the buns on Scott, he works out. So I like the fact that he's got the 2 fingers to the side of his visor when he's assembled. They show the optic blast going off, and you can see the details pretty nice on the chest. So this is, if you notice on the front of the boxes, there is a Crisis Protocol number. So it's kind of like the episode of a comic. They kept it like that. So the higher the number, the more recent. The 01 is the core box. So as it's gone on, the detail has got better. So if you look at low number stuff, the details are okay. It's not bad. But enough about the models. Let's get into the rules. So zoom in a little bit so it doesn't strain my eyes, because I'm an old man. So Cyclops, Scott Summers, has 6 health, so 6 stamina, medium movement. He's the standard height for a humanoid, which is 2, and he costs 4 to bring onto the table. So his defenses are 4 physical, which I'm quite surprised about. It doesn't mean he's necessarily hardy and he can take a hit. It might mean he's just a bit more tactical and can see it coming, because he does train a lot, this guy. But I am quite surprised. You do see some models that are a bit of a beast that you think you could take a bit of a hit, and their physical defense isn't that high. So it's quite a surprise to me to see it at a 4. So it's 4 physical, 3 energy, and 3 mystic. So his basic attack starts with Optic Blast, which is energy attack. Energy symbol there. It's range 4, it's strength 5, so we're rolling 5 dice, and it costs 0 energy. After this attack is resolved, this character gains energy equal to the amount of damage dealt. So it's pretty standard. And if you roll a wild, you get a push. So this character is hitting someone size 2 or less. Before damage is dealt, it may push it away small. Which is pretty nice, because this is an objective game after all. Yes, it's nice to take models off the table and do some damage, but pushing people around, it's always good. And then you have your Optic Devastation, which is a beam of 5. So B5 means not only is it range 5, it's a beam. So it's the width of the ruler that you'll be using, which is pretty nice. So you could get some more models in that attack, which makes sense because his Optic Blast isn't a single shot. It's not a bullet. It really is a beam. So I like the fact they've done that. It is strength 7, which is good. So 7 dice, and it does cost 4, which I don't think is too bad, because if you get the right target, you could get a few models hit with that beam, which is really good. And it does have a wild as well, so it has a concussive force. After each attack is resolved, the target character loses 1 energy. That's pretty nice. So it's not a sap, you don't gain that energy, but they lose energy. So you'll be doing damage to people, giving them energy anyway, which is great, because in this game, if you don't finish somebody off, you're giving them energy, and you're thinking, oh crumbs, when they attack next, I've just now loaded them up. Think of everybody like a battery. Get loaded up with energy, they're going to come back at you. And if you take some of that energy away, that's brilliant. So this is his affiliation ability. So if Scott is the leader for Uncanny X-Men in your team, Once per turn, when an allied character declares an attack action, but before it chooses an attack to use, any number of allied characters within range 3 of the attacking character may spend 1 energy. For each energy spent this way, reduce the power cost of the attacking character's attacks by 1 to a minimum of 1 for this attack action. So what it means is, if someone in your team wants to use an attack action, so let's say Hurricane here on Storm, cost 4. If there's friendly characters within 3, they can reduce that attack. So they can spend an energy, one guy could be within 3, can reduce it down by 1 to 3. Another guy could be also within 3, reduce it down to 2. It's really, really nice. But remember, it's a minimum of 1. So it's never free. So you can't reduce it entirely and then they get a free attack action. That wouldn't be fair. But it does help. So it's pretty nice. It's not bad. It's not bad. So his next ability is Field Leader. So it costs 3. Choose another allied character within range 4. That character can advance small. A character can only be made to advance by the superpower once per turn. So that makes sense. Because if you had, I don't know, 9 on there, advancing a character small, small, and small would be game breaking. But it's nice. That's pretty good. It's nice to have that in your toolbox. If someone's not quite where you want them to be, and they are within range 4 of you, you can move them small. That's pretty nice. Okay, it does cost 3, but it's not bad. It's not bad. So next we have Hit and Run. So Hit and Run costs 2 energy. It's an action. So remember, you can only do 2 actions unless stated otherwise in that model's term. This character immediately makes an attack action followed by a move action. This superpower can only be used once per turn. So a couple models out there do have Hit and Run. So I believe Daredevil has it, for example. But yeah, pay the 2 points. If you think you're on like 1 health or something, you think you're going to be in trouble, or you need to get somewhere else, attack, which is always nice, and then you can move away. Not cowardly, tactical, and that is exactly what Cyclops is. He is very, very tactical. He does study tactics all the time. Training, training, training. He really is like a prefect. You know, he never breaks the rules. He is Professor X's right-hand man. So, Quick Draw. So Quick Draw costs 2 energy. When this character is targeted by an attack and the attacker is not within range 2 of this character may use this superpower. Instead of rolling dice equal to defense, it rolls 5 dice, and then if this character suffers no damage from the attack, after the attack is resolved, the attacker suffers 2. So 2 damage is pretty nice. The flat 2 damage. They don't have to roll for it, they just suffer it. But you have to block all the attacks first. So someone's hitting you, let's say they're reducing, you've got Incinerate on you, so you're only rolling, I don't know, 2 dice on your energy, for example. So rather than doing that, spend 2 energy here, and you get to roll 5 defense dice, which is always better. And if you don't take any damage, you get to automatically do 2 damage to them back. So as long as they're not within range 2, that's pretty nice. So basically, he's dodging out the way, doing some kind of barrel roll, and then uses his visor, quickly does a beam attack back, doing 2 auto damage, which is nice. Okay, so on the healthy side, Scott has 6 health, and on the back he also has 6 health. So Optic Blast is the same, Optic Devastation is the same, and it looks like everything else is the same for Scott, which is nice. It doesn't change anything front or back. So then we get into Storm, and Storm has 5 stamina, so 5 health, medium movement, size 2. She costs 3 to bring onto the table, so slightly cheaper than Cyclops. And she has 3 physical defense, 4 energy defense, and 3 mystic defense. Okay, so her lightning bolt is an energy attack. It's range 4, it's 4 dice, and it's 0 cost. So 1 less dice than Scott, but like I said, she is slightly cheaper. After this attack is resolved, this character gains energy equal to the amount of damage dealt. Completely standard. But she does have a wild. So the wild is shock. So after this attack is resolved, the target character gains the shock special condition, which is one of my favourite conditions. So an enemy suffering from shock rolls 1 less dice on their attack rolls. So it's pretty much the opposite of incinerate, which is 1 less dice on the defense rolls. That's pretty nice. So it was always down to a minimum of 1 though. So if someone's only got an attack of 2, then you roll 1 lesser dice. So only attack of 1, which is nice. I like shock. Shock is good. Ice Blizzard. So it's a beam. It's only a range 3, so it's not quite as good as range 5 Optic Devastation from Cyclops, but it's a beam, which is pretty nice. So Ice Blizzard is strength 4, so you're rolling 4 dice, and it is 0 energy. So if this attack deals damage after the attack is resolved, the target gains the stun special condition, which really hampers people. So a character suffering from stun can only ever generate 1 energy when it takes damage. So if you do 3 damage to them, normally they generate 3 energy. With this, they only generate 1. So they're still generating some, but those characters out there that really want a lot of energy to do some really big attacks. So for example, Iron Fist, he really wants to do his really powerful punch, his Dragon Punch. That's not going to happen. Or if it does, it's going to take a long time unless he shakes it off. So this is pretty nice. If you're in range 3, for example, I would do a nice Blizzard against somebody and do a shock against somebody, or hoping to get that shock against somebody. That's really nice. Always putting 2 conditions on somebody really messes up the day, because obviously it takes an action to shake a condition. So if they want to shake both, obviously it's 2 actions. And I like the fact with Ice Blizzard, it just happens. You don't have to fish for that wild. It's really nice. Okay, so Hurricane is her final main attacks. So it's a physical attack. It is an aura of 2. So everybody within range 2 of her base. And it's 5 dice. And it costs 4 to perform this. This attack ignores line of sight, and defending characters do not benefit from cover. So you can be pretty close to people anyway, so not sure how many times you're going to get cover that close. But still, that's always good. After all the attacks are resolved from this area attack, each enemy character with the Flight innate superpower targeted by this attack suffers 1 damage. So auto damage is nice, and it's specifically Flight, so it's not Wall Crawler or anything like that. So if you've got the innate ability Flight, yeah. So like another Storm, for example, because she has the innate ability Flight, so it's a passive ability. Allied characters in range of this attack do not suffer damage from this attack. So I'm not entirely sure how she can manipulate a Hurricane that only damages enemies, but I'm not going to question it. It's good. It is very good. So it's 5 dice, which isn't too bad, but the fact that you do auto damage to flyers is always good. And this is Storm's specific affiliation ability. So once per round, you may use this leadership ability during an allied character's activation if it's not holding an objective token. If you do so, choose an allied character within 2 of the active character. Place the active character within 1 of the chosen character. Additionally, when an allied character is targeted by an attack and the attacker is not within range 2 of allied characters, the allied character has cover. So basically what it means is the additional thing is great. The fact that allied characters have cover, which basically auto turns a dice into a shield, which is always nice. So it's stopping at least 1 damage coming through. But that's got to be outside of range 2, which makes sense. Basically, she's putting like a blanket fog down. So it's very thematic. for Storm. She does that a lot in the cartoons and the comics and the films. But the fact that once per round you may basically leapfrog one of your friendlies. It doesn't have a range on which allied character you pick, but you pick an allied character and an active character, an allied character within range 2 of that character can be placed within one of the chosen characters. So you can leapfrog basically over another model, which is great. So it doesn't seem like there's a lot of movement there. So you have a model and it's got to be within range 2 of another model, and then it gets to be placed within one of that model. So you can leapfrog it over, but remember you could also just move it slightly up. If it's near an objective and you just need a little bit more, that is quite useful. Okay, so next we have Eye of the Storm. So during the next attack action made by this character, add 2 dice to its attack rolls. That's always nice. It costs 3 energy to do, but adding extra dice is always good. So if you really want to, let's say the lightning bolt is normally only 4 dice, but it's now 6 dice. So if you're really fishing for that shock, that's brilliant. Okay, and then we have Tempest. So choose an interactive terrain feature or an enemy character, both of size 2 or less, within range 3, and throw it small. So it's slightly limited, the fact that it is size 2 or less. So it's those standard size humans, the standard size characters, small pieces of terrain. You know, it's not a big building or anything like that, which makes sense. You know, it's basically a gust of wind picking something up. It's not like like a force 10 hurricane, which is pretty cool. It only costs 3, and it's always a nice tool to have in your toolbox to move somebody around or throw an object at somebody. Just played a game yesterday with my friend Tom, and he wiped Cable out with a traffic cone. So the traffic cone was only size 1, but still, he didn't need to do much damage. Yeah, Cable killed by a traffic cone. His one weakness, apparently, but hey-ho, we won't go there. Okay, so Goddess of Storms, first of her passive abilities. So characters must be within range 3 to target this character with attacks. So basically, it's stealth. So she's always surrounded by mist and fog or hurricane winds, things like that, deflecting your blows. It's always good. And she has flight. So flight's always good. Doesn't slow her down moving over buildings, things like that. So she'll always be, unless she's got a condition on her, the medium movement. And she has immunity to shock. So if someone tries to do shock on her, no good, essay. So she starts with 5 health. She is 5 health on her injured side. And like Scott, I don't think anything changes. So lightning bolt's the same, ice blizzard, hurricane, all the affiliation stuff. So nice and simple to work out. When she's injured, she's exactly the same. Health doesn't change or anything like that. So, me personally, I don't know who's better out of Cyclops and Storm rules-wise. I like the fact that Cyclops has his own pretty nice blasts. I'll pan back a bit so we can see both of those. But who would be the best pick for the leader? So, Scott's reduces the attacks, the cost of people's attacks. So he's pretty good at keeping people's energy costs down, things like that. If you really want to have some people at the back generating loads of energy and then feeding other characters so they get cheap attacks, not bad. That's okay, that's good. But it's got to come from somewhere. So it's not like Captain America, who basically reduces. This is coming from somewhere. There is attacks. It is coming from another source. So it's not like it's saving everybody's energy. It's just saving the attacking character's energy. So, yeah, it's okay. I mean, there's some characters out there that are pretty much batteries. I found that Doc Ock, if he was with these guys, with his scientific hubris, I can't stop rolling crits for him. So every time he rolls a crit, he gets an additional energy, which is always nice. And he hasn't got that many attacks. So my personal experience with him, I find he's often on 10 energy at the end of the game. And he doesn't get rid of it that much once all the pieces of terrain have been thrown, things like that. So he can like spam out his energy to reduce other people's attacks. Not bad, it's okay. But personally, I think I would always take Storm as the leader. She's quite a cheap leader, and if you did have enough points to want to take Cyclops in, he's not a bad character, not as a leader. Because Optic Blast is pretty tasty. It's range 4, it's 5 dice, so it's, you know, slightly above the average for the 0 cost stuff. But fish for the push on that wild, always nice. The Optic Devastation is great because it's range 5 and it's 7 dice. So he's not bad, you know, and he can move people around. The hit and run's pretty nice if he needs to. And if he does get in trouble and someone does reduce his defense and he does have 2 energy, quick draw's great. So you get higher defense out of it and you can auto do 2 damage, which is fantastic. Auto damage is always nice. If someone's got incredibly high defense, like you're against spider warriors, for example, so Spider-Man's coming at you, or Gwen or somebody, you know, they're quite tricksy. Their defense tech is pretty good. So doing that to auto damage is always nice. So me personally, I'll be using Storm as the leader, and maybe I'll chuck Cyclops in every now and again, but not as the leader. That's just me personally. I say that now, but I haven't checked out the Team Tactics cards, so that could all change. That's just my initial thought. So, what do we have in the Team Tactics cards? I'll zoom back in again, so save your eyes, and certainly save my weedy little burnt out things. Children of the Atom. So, Uncanny X-Men, it's active. An Uncanny X-Man character may play this card. Remove all special conditions from this character, and it gains 1 energy for each special condition removed in this way. That's nice. I do like that. So if someone's really going to pile stuff on you, yeah, sure, keep doing it. And I'm just going to shake it off and gain energy for that. So why not? That's a good card. I quite like that. First class, and I do like the fact that they got the retro outfits in the background on the artwork there. That's pretty cool. So Uncanny X-Men, reactive. At the start of the activation phase, an allied Uncanny X-Men character may play this card. Each allied Uncanny X-Men, I'm just going to say X-Men, character does not have to spend energy the first time they interact with an object token this round. Yeah, that's okay. It saves you spending energy. It's not a must-have, but why not? But if you think you've got, let's say, 3 of these guys, 3 of your Uncanny X-Men within 3 objectives, and they're all going to be doing it, they all get to save the energy. So, I don't know how often that's going to happen, but, you know, at least one character is going to pick stuff up, it's going to save them. Brilliant, not a problem. What I really also like is the artwork itself, the fact that it has Iceman in the background, which really should happen. That's going to be wicked seeing him on the table. And Angel. So if Angel's not in the game, I'm not fussed. Archangel needs to happen. That'd be so cool. My predictions, the fact that we've had Dormammu and we have Thanos, we've got to have Apocalypse at some stage. And if there's Apocalypse, it's got to be the 4 Horsemen. So Archangel has got to be there, surely. So I can't wait for that. Plus bad guys. I always like to play bad guys. And it reminds me of my 90s, like, childhood, watching X-Men. Loved a bit of Apocalypse back then. So to me, my X-Men, which is a great line from Professor X. Uncanny X-Men. Active. A character with Uncanny X-Men leadership ability may spend any number of energy to play this card. For each energy spent to play this card, 1 allied Uncanny X-Men character may advance small towards this character. So, let's say using Storm, stuff goes wrong and you need Storm to regroup, basically. That's great. So for each energy, you can bring models closer. So it doesn't have to necessarily swarm Storm. Hey, that works. Swarm Storm? Yeah, sure. But just moving small is always nice. The extra movement is always good. And the fact that you can spend 1 point for each model, brilliant. So we have 1, and only 1, mission card. So it's an 18, which I'm not sure I've got many 18s to be fair. Mutant Madmen turns city centre into lethal amusement park. So I'm assuming lethal amusement park is probably going to be arcade. So I'm not sure if we're going to see him as a bad guy. He's more of an irritant than anything, I would say. So set up, place 4 traps, targets of opportunity as indicated on map B. Players score 1 victory point for each trap they control during the cleanup phase. Okay, so it's 4. That's not bad. So interact with the trap. Roll dice equal to the interacting character's physical defense. If the roll contains crits, wilds, or hit results, then the number of healthy contesting enemy characters, the interacting character's controlling player now controls the trap. So basically, you've got to roll, and if there's healthy contesting enemy characters nearby, you have to get more to control the trap. So if there's no one around, it's not so bad. But if there's loads of enemies around, yeah, it's going to be a bit of a pain. So during the cleanup phase, each player controlling a trap chooses an enemy character within 2 of each trap. The chosen character suffers 1 damage and gains 1 energy each time the trap complete and gains 1 energy. Resolve each trap completely before moving on to the next. So that's pretty cool. I mean, they gain energy, yeah. But if they've got 1 health left, that's wicked. Because it's during the cleanup phase. That is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Auto damage again. They've got no defensive say in it. It's always good. Yes, they gain an extra energy, but hey ho. It's not bad. 18 points though. I mean, I like to make some fantasy lists out there, which is like 14 points, 17 points, 19 points. You know, the common ones. But 18? Ooh, okay, 18's a bit different. Okay. So, I would be using, to my X-Men, because I think bringing models in is extra movement. It's not bad. I'm not sure First Class will be a pick for me. Yeah, you can save energy, but it's not enough tech for me. It's not something that's going to go, wow, that's going to change the game. Yeah, you're saving energy. Brilliant. But it's not like... You're going to be grabbing those things early in the game generally anyway. Unless people start passing out and dropping these tokens. So it's not great tech for me that I'm looking for. I'm looking for stuff that can throw people around. Stop any damage, any impact damage is always nice, like someone throwing a build at you, stuff like that. Children of the Atom isn't bad. I don't know how often you're going to get a load of special conditions on you, but even if you get 1 on you, you get to shake it off, which is not an action by using that card, which saves you from spending your actions, and you get energy. So even if you've only got 1 on you, it saves you from spending 1 action, and you get an energy, which is nice. So it's pretty win-win. It's not bad. It's not a bad card at all. But yes, I am looking forward to assembling these guys, and certainly looking forward to painting them. So I'm going down the slippery slope of X-Men. You knew it was going to happen. I mean, I went bad guys, Cabal, because I love my 90s bad guys. So Sinister, Omega Red. You don't see them in the films, but I used to love them in the cartoons growing up. I thought, I'll do that, I'll just stick to that. And then you kind of accidentally get into X-Force because Cable just looks so cool. And then of course X-Force, X-Men, it's so close, why wouldn't you? And they share some of the same models. It really is a slippery slope. Don't be fooled, Marvel Crisis Protocol isn't a high model game. You don't need many models, you need a minimum of 10 to play the game. So don't be like me and go completely crazy and collect everything. But that being said, they are great to collect. There's cards out there that can add to your current team, even if you don't play those models. And the models do look cool. The models do look cool, so I'm not going to take that away from you guys. But thank you very much for listening to my ramblings yet again. Please hit that like button if you haven't done already. And please subscribe for some more great content. Stay safe, everyone. See you in the next video.